could have been a Hall of Famer in baseball. He was really that good, and teams really wanted him to play. But his father steered him towards football, and he came to really love the sport, especially after he went to Alabama, and then history was made.
You know, I talked to Bear Bryant when I was doing a University of Washington, Alabama football game, and it was very sobering to go down and do that game. I'd never done anything at Tuscaloosa before, and I'd never seen a football team that went from the 50-yard line to the back of the end zone warming up like like Alabama had, and they just killed the University of Washington. And I made the comment on the air as I was doing the play-by-play, you know, they could do another season of MASH with all the injuries that Washington has in this game. But when you think about him and you think about Bear Bryant, what was it that made that relationship work?
Well, it worked in the end, but it also sort of didn't work because Ken, sort of fought Bryant, fought his rules, and eventually was suspended indefinitely from the team and had to work his way back on the team. So it was sort of a clash, but in the end, then and also in the rest of his life, Ken came to really genuinely love Bear Bryant and appreciate what Bryant was trying to do for him. He was trying to teach Ken about discipline and being a pro, things that Ken would take in and become. When he partied a lot, Stabler did, obviously, but when the practices came, he was a true pro. When the games came, he was a true professional guy. And he got a lot of that from Brian, and a lot of that stuff slowly began to sink in, and eventually did. He became, despite his partying nature, he became a really, really top-notch professional guy.
You say in your book about Bear Bryant, what he had to say about him. He was very imposing, Stabler said. He kind of scared the crap out of me. Why? He was a legend. I don't know if there's an equivalent in college football today. He made you always want to be your best for him. I always did my best, but I also had to be me. And I suppose that conflict, is there any correlation between that relationship and the relationship that Bear had with Joe Namath?
Yeah, very much so. And great question, because Namath also ran into some of those issues, wanting to be himself and wanting to have fun. And they also had a clash. And Namath would learn the same lessons, and then Namath would have the same endearing feelings. So they were very, very similar talents and playing styles and personalities. So, yeah, very much so.
And he really didn't know how he got the nickname Snake, but in your book you reveal how he got that name.
Yeah, in high school, he ran back a kickoff, and one of the coaches just sort of quietly used it, and on the sideline, watching him run, and said he looked like a snake, and that was the origin of it. It was very, very kind of subtle, and it stuck in it, and that's how it came to be. And it was he really for most of his life and career, he really liked it, and obviously when he retired, people still called him that. He didn't mind it, but he also really, that whole persona he wanted to put behind him at one point. But, yeah, that's how he got the nickname.
And the marriage between the Raiders and Ken Stabler, that was a marriage kind of made in heaven, was it not, with Al Davis and the way he was a renegade himself?
Yeah, I always say that the NFL is better when the Raiders are good, because there's something in the Raider DNA where they're fun. And no matter if it's 1970 or 2016, they're just a fun team to be around. They're crazy. They do some crazy stuff, but they're fun. And it was that way when he went to Oakland. It was perfect, because he played for the perfect coach in John Madden, who all John cared about was make sure you play hard when the games come. And John had his rules and things he wanted to do, but Snake and all these other guys with all those other personalities were allowed to have those personalities, which is something that's very different from a lot of football today. So, yeah, it was a perfect match.
Well, and I think the key to it, and Michael, if I'm wrong about this, feel free to correct me, but I think the key to it is exactly what Al Davis used to always say: just win, baby. Didn't worry about the style. He only worried about the results on Sunday.